Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today is the 25th of November, and we are on week 6 of the Change One Thing challenge. I was sat there last night trying to determine what I was going to talk about today. There hasn't been very much chat in the group this week. Let's move my headpiece, see if that's better for you. There hasn't been much chatter in the group this week, and I hadn't really got a steer from you as to what you wanted. So as I was sat there, it hit me like a bolt out of the blue. Let's talk about being spontaneous and let's talk about scheduling. So those of you that have been around for a while know that I set this challenge up. I went off and I set a whole load of Zoom calls. And it appears that Zoom calls actually aren't effective for everybody. Sorry, I'm distracted. There appears to be a pulsing light, although when I look at the light, it's not pulsing. I'm just going to reset the lighting. Hang on 1 second. You should still be able to hear me, even though I've taken the headset out. Let's move that one, turn that one off, and see if that stops distracting me. How interesting was that? So, spontaneity versus scheduled. Now, I've been chatting to a fair few people over a period of time about what they actually like to do, how they like to run their groups, their lives. And the more creatives among them, the more holistics among them, really love the spontaneous nature of just going live on Facebook. Whereas some of the other people that I speak to that maybe come from an administration background or a very structured background, they like to plan. And this really did make me think that I am an admin. That's my background. That's what I've done for a long, long time. Part qualified accountant. So again, structure, processes, laws. And I know that when I first started to do Myers-Briggs personality testing back in the 90s, I came out as a real planner. I was a thinker. I was a planner. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that, I really did feel that I wanted to develop myself and I wanted to change things. Hubby loves running by the seat of his pants. He rarely plans anything, and he just goes with the flow. Now, I actually find that fairly frustrating. I need to know the plan, I need to know the outline, I need to work back from the delivery time, etc. But I did want to work towards being more spontaneous. And good morning, Joy. And so that's exactly what I tried to do. Morning, Claire. Hope you're both well. I have managed to move my natural state from being someone that planned to the nth degree to someone that still plans, but can actually roll with it and can change things. Hence the reason why at 9 o'clock last night, I still didn't know the subject for today's Facebook Live. Back in the last century, that would have given me a sleepless night. Now I'm much more with it. So I would be very interested, those of you that are joining me, to tell me how you feel. Are you a spontaneous person, or are you much more of a planner and worker out? And it's interesting because the two people that are with me at the moment, very different spectrums. I have an expectation of their answers, but they might both surprise me. So why is spontaneous work brilliant? Well, if you are very excited by the topic that has hit you and you get out there and you want to share it with the world, your excitement is infectious. Your motivation, your joy, your love for what you're talking about is absolutely going to come through. You're going to speak from the heart, and when you speak from the heart, it becomes authentic, it becomes true, and people can really get a sense of who you are. When you have sat there a little bit like I've done with this and gone, I'm going to talk about spontaneity versus scheduling, so what are the main points that I need to get across? I would normally have a set of notes at the side of me, and then when I'm checking my notes because I'm looking and it's really clear. I've no notes. Look, it is an utter blank sheet of paper. So although this was a scheduled live, I'm trying to do it spontaneously. Now, Joy has replied to me that she is spontaneous, but needs to plan better. And that's the answer that I expected to get from Joy as a creative, as a holistic, as someone who is utterly attuned to universal flow. I'm not in the least bit surprised that Joy is spontaneous. And Joy, I will say to you what I've said to others in your position. You only need to plan if you feel that will help you to be more effective in what it is you're doing. Spontaneity cannot be manufactured. You can't really sit and plan what you're going to say and then make it come across as spontaneous. And I think that is the joy of being a creative and a holistic, is that you have that immediate get in there, get that love across, get it out there. However, as I've said to a couple of my friends across the pond, perhaps what you need to do is create a skeleton of what you want to talk about when, with headers, and then the meat of that skeleton becomes the spontaneousness. Now I'm just going into my little filing pile. I've mentioned this to you before, I'll mention it again. This is Gavin Mountford's 10 by 10, or in this case 7 by 10, because I couldn't get all 10 bits on. This is Gavin Mountford's content matrix. It is the skeleton of what I will be delivering over the coming months. So there are 70 topics on here. The spontaneity was writing down, the scheduling was writing down the topics that I was dealing with. The spontaneity will come when I look at one of them. So for example, LinkedIn profile, and work out what I'm actually going to say to you. Now, some of these will need planning in order for me to get the message across in the quickest time possible. But some of them, like healthy active brain, ideas, space, meditation, how to say no politely, these are all things that I can do that are bread and butter to me, that I won't need to plan quite so rigidly. And I think that's where I'm coming from, and where I would like to encourage you, all of you that are on the Change One Thing challenge. You're all doing various different things. We're shedding pounds, we're exercising, we are working on extra focus, we are working on extra income, we're working on embracing the past and moving forward. We're working on confidence. Spontaneity and scheduling is really key for all of those areas. Declutter. I'll use Lindsay. She's not here, but I'll use her anyway. Lindsay decided that her Change One Thing challenge was going to be to declutter her back bedroom. Lindsay is holistic and creative, and I can fully understand why this task did not fill her with great enjoyment, because it's not something that really comes into her remit, really. So she did plan time, and then she prevaricated, and she didn't manage to do what she wanted to do on the day that she wanted to do it, but she has since done it. She got up one morning and just went, today's the day, and she went for it, and she's done it, and she's now on to another room, doing something different in a different room, and it's really worked for her. So that's an example of scheduling where spontaneity comes out of it. Now, all of us, I think, probably have a main job and a few side gigs, or something that we focus on, and other things that we have as distractions. I have long conversations with a good friend about planning time in her day to fit in all of the things that she needs to fit in. We have talked about time blocking. We have talked about focusing. We've talked about turning off the phone, turning off the voicemail, turning off the emails. Her situation is such that she can't actually do any of that at the moment. She knows it's all great techniques to move herself forward, but there are other things at play that she can't actually move around. So what she now does is she does schedule her diary, but if she needs to move things, then she'll do that. Many of you, I'm sure, have seen my diary before. I have certain clients that I work for, and every month I schedule them in rigidly at a certain time. I then go through my calendar for the month and go, okay, so that might be a 9 o'clock every day, but I can't actually do anything on Wednesday until 2 o'clock. So I move that appointment around. Now, it doesn't matter in this instance to my clients whether I move them because of the nature of what I'm doing for them. But the fact that I can rejig my calendar around is really, really useful. I have, however, needed to look at when my first free day is, or my first free week is, in order to accommodate a new task. And I was quite surprised to find that my first free week is the 7th of January. So my December is fully stacked already. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that my December is going to pan out exactly as my calendar says it will. I think there will be some changes in there, and I will roll with whatever the day gives to me. But it's great to look at that and know what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how I'm going to achieve that. It goes back to the live I did on time blocking and on color coding my calendar so that I can see at a glance what I'm doing when. And I spent much of Sunday evening just putting that all into place, changing a few things around, switching up a daily method of operation, because I'm trying something different in my business. So, ladies, what do you think? Is spontaneous the way to go? Is scheduling the way to go? Or is it a mixture of the two? I honestly believe that it is a mixture of the two, and getting the right balance between them would work really, really well to help you move forward. Now I'm going to type something into the comments, because what I found happened last week was that you were writing to me and I couldn't see it. Let's have a look at what Claire's just said. I schedule in the obvious priorities such as walking the dog, planned meetings. Then each day I pick the most urgent job on my work list and start there. I use software called Todoist, is that right? Now, to manage projects, whether personal or work, but almost all the time there are 10 overdue tasks. I think that's a really valid point, Claire, that one thing that has started to be taught a lot since about 2017, 2018 is that your task list will never clear. You will always add things to it, so it will be never ending. Now, there are some of us, when I was a PA, certainly, it used to frustrate the heck out of me that I couldn't clear my to-do list. And I used to feel a failure because I wasn't getting stuff done. What I had to really develop myself to do was actually look at the number of ticks on the list. So whilst I may not have cleared that list, look at how much I'd gone through. We've said this before in the Change One Thing challenge, that the human brain or the human mind appears to be geared to always look at the negatives, to always look at the things that speak badly about ourselves to ourselves. And so I had to find a way of going, I've done really well today. I've cleared 10 of my 15 tasks. Those 5 will carry over to tomorrow. Positive reinforcement is really key. So those of you that are looking at bringing in more income or bringing in more clients, how could scheduling or spontaneity help you? I talk from my own experience. I am still more scheduled than spontaneous. So for me, it's planning time in my diary that I can dedicate to go out and find those new clients, whether that be going to face-to-face networking, whether that be doing something like this, a Facebook Live, so that people can see you, people can hear you, people can start to appreciate who you are and work out whether I am for them. There are many things that can put you off when you're doing something like this. People might listen to my accent and decide that that's not an accent they want to hear ringing around their head all the time. Some may look at me and decide that they don't want to talk to a brunette. They would rather talk to a redhead or a blonde or a black-haired person. I was really interested at a network I went to last week where the speaker stood up and talked about, do you want to be successful or do you want to be significant? And I think we covered some of that off in the Facebook Live on Friday. But what she said was you had 1/10 of a second on first meeting for people to make a decision about you. 1/10 of a second. And in that first glance, they will have looked at you and they will have taken everything in. And how you present to them that first time will actually determine how they interact with you moving on. Now, I did say that you do have many occasions to change that opinion. The more that you are around someone, the more they get to know you, the more they understand the layers that are you, that make you up, the more they will either be attracted to you or repelled from you. Either way, they're either meant to be in your tribe or they're not. Those of you that are looking to get involved in exercise, I strongly urge you to schedule it with friends. You see, you don't like to let your friends down. Even if you don't prioritise yourself, you don't like to let friends down. You know by now that I'm a health walk leader. You know that I go out on Wednesdays and Fridays and I take other people out and we walk along the canal or we walk around the estate, whichever suits them at the time. But last Friday, for 2 pins, I wouldn't have gone. If it had just been me, I'd have cancelled. But there are people that rely on me. In this instance, there were 6 people that relied on me. So off I went and I did my walk and I did feel better for it. So those of you that are doing exercise, I think spontaneous exercise is fantastic. So when we've got great weather out here, I think it's great to go and take advantage of that. But get it in the diary, put a walk in with friends, make it happen. Those of you that are looking to focus, I think for you, you probably have surplus spontaneity, and that's why you can't focus, because things are bombarding you. So you definitely are the ones that want to take some time blocking in your calendar and actually sit and say, between 10 and 11, I am going to focus on this task or this project. You can still be spontaneous around it. You can give yourself time to be spontaneous. But if you really want to row your boat faster, if you really want to hit your goals, then you need to put in that focused time. Those of you that are shedding pounds, I think for you, your scheduling is around meal planning. It is around knowing when you're not going to be around to cook your own meals, and then having a plan in your head of how you can go out and eat with others spontaneously, but still stay to your plan. Those of you who know me know that I did the 8-week blood sugar diet, which was 800 calories a day for 8 weeks. You also know that I stopped taking dairy because I had terrible acid reflux, so I came off all dairy. And you now know that I implement something akin to keto, but it's not keto because I eat root vegetables. So my daily, weekly, monthly mantra is high fat, medium protein, low carb, loads and loads and loads and loads of salad and vegetables. And actually just keeping those principles in my head means I can go out wherever I am and I can find a meal. Carol and I were down in Glasgow. We drove back on Thursday. We stopped in Inverary for lunch and I chose the Cajun chicken burger and fries. And as I placed my order, I said, hello, could I have the burger and fries, please, with no brioche bun and no fries? She looked at me, she went, sorry. I said, what I really want is the Cajun burger and a plate of salad. Could you do that? She went, yes. So they did, and it was absolutely stunning. It was a wonderful meal, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I stayed on plan. They might have thought I was a little odd turning down fries, but it works. So that's about understanding what I need to do moving forward and implementing it. I carry herbal tea bags wherever I go because I'm an almond milk girl. And whilst you can get soy milk in most places now, I don't like it because it tastes like wallpaper paste. So I go for unsweetened almond milk. Can't get that everywhere. Can't carry it with me. So my option is to drink herbal tea. So I hope that's really helped. Looking at scheduling, looking at spontaneity, knowing that there is a place for both in everything we do all the time. It's lovely at weekends when your friends go, we're just popping off to such and such. Do you fancy coming too? And I can go, yeah. And I can change my day around and I can do that. It's very useful because Rue is going for a contact lens consult on the 13th of December. He's nearly 60 years old. He's never had a contact lens in his life. So I've said, well, I think I probably need to come with you because if those contact lenses don't work well for you, it's a terrible journey back home. It's an hour back home from Oban, so I'll drive. And it's great to be able to take that time out because a trip to Oban for us will be 4 hours. Take that time out to actually help someone else. So I think it's wonderful that you can be spontaneous and long may that rain. I think it's wonderful that you can schedule. And my homework for you is if you're mostly a scheduler, try to be a little more spontaneous this week. And if you do everything on the fly, try and write something down. That's it from me. I'm going to end this live. Thank you very much to Joy and Claire for joining me today. I'm going to be up in Delavik on Wednesday through Friday. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to have time in my day, because I haven't scheduled it, to do a live, but I'll see what I can do. So thank you very much for being here today. This will go up on replay in the group very shortly. If you've got any questions, pop them below. And for everybody else, let me know, scheduled or spontaneous. See you later.